All right, let's talk about something. Something that is, without a doubt, one of the most painful and flat-out confusing experiences a person can have. We're talking about that connection, the one that feels like destiny, but is completely and utterly impossible.
I mean, that's the real question, isn't it? Why does this happen? This powerful, undeniable pull to someone you can't have, but also can't seem to let go of. Is it some kind of cosmic punishment? A sick joke? Or is there something else going on entirely?
The sheer intensity of it is what's so wild. They just appear, make you feel more alive than you ever thought possible, and then they're gone. Or maybe they were never really available in the first place. But the mark they leave on you feels permanent. And I want you to know, this isn't just you being dramatic. It's a real, profound psychological event. So here's where we're going to shift our thinking. What if we could reframe this entire experience? What if it wasn't a mistake? What if it wasn't a tragedy at all, but a very specific, very targeted message from you to you?
Now, this requires a pretty big mental leap, because our first instinct is to feel like the victim of some cruel cosmic prank. But from a psychological perspective, especially a Jungian one, this experience isn't a joke. It's a surgical tool, designed with incredible precision to cut something open.
And this is a really crucial point. The goal of this impossible connection was never a fairy tale romance. Nope. Its true purpose is way deeper, and honestly, a lot harder. It's here to force you, to literally force you to look at the parts of yourself you've been desperately avoiding. Okay, so let's get into the mechanics. Why does this feel so incredibly powerful? Because it's not magic, it's psychology. And it all comes down to the powerful phenomenon of the mirror. The engine driving this entire experience is a little thing called projection. And look, we all do it. It's when we take a quality we have, but we haven't owned up to, our own courage maybe, or our creativity, and we unconsciously cast it onto someone else. We see it shining brightly in them, instead of recognizing it in ourselves.
So where do these projected qualities even come from? Well, they come from what the psychologist Carl Jung called the shadow self. Now, don't let the name spook you. This isn't just the bad stuff. It's everything you've pushed away. Yeah, your deepest pain lives there. But you know what else does? Your greatest, most brilliant, untapped potential.
This whole thing usually follows a pretty predictable script. First, there's a powerful quality. Let's say it's a deep longing for freedom that's buried in your shadow. Second, you meet someone who just seems to embody that freedom, and you project it all over them. Third, you feel that insane, magnetic, can't eat, can't sleep pull towards them. And fourth, here's the big mistake. You label that powerful feeling love or destiny.
And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the matter. That overwhelming attraction, it wasn't really for them, the actual person, with all their own issues and complexities. No. It was an attraction to a part of your own soul that was asleep. And they, just by being them, woke it up.
So let's make this really practical. Take a second and think about that person. What did they really represent? Was it courage you felt you didn't have? A sense of freedom you craved? A passion you'd suppressed? Maybe just the possibility of a totally different life. That quality you admired so much in them, that's your clue. That's the thing you have to find in yourself.
Okay, but what happens next? Because the most critical part of this journey doesn't actually happen when they're in your life. It begins in the quiet, in the echoing space after they're gone.
Think of it like this. Their arrival was just to deliver a message. Their absence is what finally makes you sit down and read it. That pain you're feeling, that's not the end of the story. That's the starting bell for your own transformation. When you're just left with that emptiness, this is your assignment. You have to actually sit in the quiet. You have to ask yourself, what unmet need inside of me did they shine a spotlight on? You have to consciously take back that projection and understand this was about your shadow, not them. This is the moment you stop waiting for a savior and realize they were just the catalyst.
You know, we have this fairy tale idea that a soulmate is supposed to show up and bring us peace and quiet. But often the most significant soul connections are catalysts. They don't bring peace, they bring a storm. They come to shake up your life, to shatter your comfortable little world, and to activate the parts of you that have been asleep for way too long.
So all of this leads us to the final and most empowering stage. How do you take this incredibly painful lesson and use it to finally break the cycle?
How do you become the source of the very thing you were looking for in someone else? Jung's famous words are basically the entire roadmap. If you don't do the work to figure out why you were so intensely drawn to that person, your unconscious will just go out and find another person with a different face to represent the exact same unhealed part of you. You'll keep calling it bad luck or fate, but really, it's just a pattern on repeat.
And let's be crystal clear about this. This is the stark reality. The lesson will be presented to you again and again and again through different people in different situations until you finally turn inward and deal with the root cause. The wound inside you is going to keep calling for a mirror until you heal it.
And that brings us to the ultimate goal. The prize at the end of all this suffering isn't getting the person back. The prize is becoming so whole in yourself that you don't need anyone to complete you. It's about building that courage, that freedom, that passion inside yourself. Because only then can you attract someone who is also whole, someone to walk with you as an equal partner.
So let's just boil it all down with this side by side. The person felt like your destiny, right? Actually, they were your key. The event felt like a heartbreaking romantic tragedy. Actually, it was a psychological alarm clock going off. The object of your affection felt like a person you needed to hold. Really, they were a mirror you needed to understand. So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. They didn't come into your life to stay. They came to unlock a door inside you. They handed you a key, and then they left. The pain was absolutely real, but the opportunity for growth is even more real. So the question is no longer, why did this happen to me? The question now is, what will I build with what it unlocked?
It feels like some kind of cosmic prank, doesn't it? Like the universe is playing a really cruel joke and you're the punchline. They weren't meant for you. They weren't coming to save you. And they definitely weren't coming to stay. And yet, somehow, they marked every corner of your mind, every cell of your being, like they belonged there all along.
So let's just ask the question that's probably been echoing in your head. Why? Why does the universe introduce you to someone you can never, ever be with? This absurd, impossible, but undeniable connection that you can't forget, but you can't ever really have. I mean, is it a punishment? Is it some kind of lesson? Or is it maybe a brutal reflection of something you just don't understand about yourself yet?
You know, this quote just nails the whole paradox of it. How can somebody who is just passing through leave such a permanent mark? See, this isn't just a simple story of unrequited love. It's something way more complex, and frankly, it's way more important for you to understand.
All right, let's start by digging into this impossible connection itself. These kinds of encounters have a really cruel edge to them. And it's not just because they hurt. It's because they have this nasty habit of shining a spotlight on the very parts of you that you've tried so hard to keep in the dark. They make you feel more alive than you've ever felt, right before reminding you of what you can never have. You know, we have all these romantic myths in our heads. We think a soulmate is supposed to show up and bring calm, right? Peace and quiet. But what if the entire point of this person, this quote-unquote soulmate, wasn't peace at all? What if their job was to be a storm, to be chaos, to activate your deepest wounds and shatter all your comfortable illusions? Because, let's be honest, without that massive disruption, you might have just stayed asleep. And this brings us to the most critical turning point in this whole thing. We need to completely shift our focus away from the person out there and turn our attention to the world in here. So here it is. The big secret. This was never, ever really about them. That person, their face, their voice, the way they made you feel, they were just symbols. They were a vessel, a container for something much, much deeper that you are carrying inside of yourself. The brilliant psychoanalyst Carl Jung gave us the key to this whole mystery. It's a psychological mechanism called projection. It's when we unconsciously take parts of ourselves, our hidden hopes, our secret fears, our untapped potential, and we cast them onto somebody else. It's like a movie projector shining an image onto a blank screen. That intense, magnetic, can't live without them pull that you feel, that's you, being drawn to a missing piece of yourself.
So, this is how we reframe this entire painful experience. Every romantic myth we tell ourselves actually points to a deeper psychological truth. What you thought was a soulmate was really a mirror, just reflecting you back at yourself. That epic, tragic love story was actually a powerful projection from your own mind. And what felt like destiny was really a lesson that your psyche was screaming at you to finally learn.
Okay, so if this person was a mirror, what exactly was it showing you? Well, the answer to that lies in one of Jung's most powerful and, honestly, most challenging concepts. You're not just meeting a person, you are meeting your shadow. This is all the stuff about yourself that you've pushed away or maybe never even developed. It's the parts of your own mind you've just refused to look at. And the incredible power that this impossible person has over you, it comes from the fact that they seem to embody the very things your shadow is made of. Let's get really honest with ourselves for a second. What was it you saw in them? What did they represent to you? Was it a sense of freedom that you don't allow yourself? Was it the courage you feel like you're missing, the passion you've stamped down? Maybe it was a feeling of stability or clarity or the dream of a totally different life. Whatever it was you projected onto them, that is a precise blueprint of what you have not yet built inside yourself. And there it is. That's the line that changes everything. You see, you're not actually in love. You are hypnotized by your own shadow. You're not fighting to win a person over. You're in a battle with the parts of yourself you've abandoned. And that's why you can't let go. It feels like you're giving up on a person, but what you're really avoiding is your own internal work. So once we get this, really get this, the entire meaning of the experience starts to shift. It transforms from something that happened to you into something that happened for you.
So let's just get this crystal clear. This agonizing, gut-wrenching experience, it is not a punishment from the universe.
And it is not some epic, romantic tragedy that you are destined to suffer through.
No, this is an urgent, blaring, high-decibel alarm clock going off in your own mind, warning you that something inside needs to be seen, needs to be healed, and needs to be understood now.
And Jung explains exactly why this alarm is so loud and so painful. He said that anything we refuse to deal with on the inside doesn't just vanish. Nope. It shows up on the outside, and we call it fate or bad luck. You'll call it a coincidence, you'll call it love, but what it really is your own unconscious mind trapping you in the same drama over and over until you finally wake up and look inward. So, what now? What do you actually do? The person is gone, or they're unavailable, but that echo is still there. How do you take this painful awareness and turn it into real, lasting growth?
The real work, it starts the moment they're out of the picture. First, you have to stop looking outside yourself for a savior. The answer was never out there to begin with. Second, you have to identify the projection. Get specific. Was it their confidence, their creativity? Write it down. Third, and look, this is the hardest part, you have to start integrating those qualities into your own life. You become your own source of passion, your own source of courage. And finally, by doing this, you heal that inner void that created the projection in the first place. You break the cycle so you don't just end up attracting the same pain with a different face next time.
Let's just burn this into our minds once and for all. That person, the one you can't have, the one you can't forget, they were never, ever your destiny. They were your key. The key that was meant to unlock a door deep inside of you, to force you to go downstairs into your own subconscious and finally face what you find there. They were the map. And the map leads straight to your own shadow. And we'll end with this profound insight from Jung himself. True growth, true wholeness. It doesn't come from chasing saviors or daydreaming about figures of light. It comes from having the courage to turn around, look inward, and make your own darkness conscious. The universe didn't send you them to break you. It sent you them to wake you up. The real question is, now that you're awake, what are you going to build?